let's learn about the third conditional. And remember, if you have any questions after this video, I do have a unit with engaging activities in the video description below, so check it out. Now stop. If you do not know the past perfect or modal perfects, please go back and learn those grammar ideas first. You need to be familiar with them in order to be successful with the third conditional. So let's start with this. What is the third conditional? Third conditional sentences are for real past situations that we think about happening differently. So we imagine how a past situation would have been different, or how it was possible a past situation could have been different, or maybe how a past situation might have been different. And that is if there had been some sort of change in what happened or how we approached that situation. And take a look. I underlined imagine because it connects to would. I underlined possible because that connects to could. And I underlined maybe because that connects to might, our three modals in the third condition. All right, let's look at some examples. If I had known there was traffic, I would have left the house earlier. This sentence means that this person didn't know about the traffic, and so they left their house and then got stuck in traffic. But what they're doing here is they imagine they would have left earlier if they knew about the traffic. If I had seen the accident, I could have helped. In this sentence, the person didn't see the accident, so it wasn't possible for them to help. But again, what they are saying is that it was possible for them to help if they saw the accident. If I had been early, I might have had time to prepare for the meeting. So again, in this sentence, the person was not early, which means they did not have that time to prepare. But what they're saying here is that maybe they would have had the time that they needed to prepare if they came earlier. All right, let's notice the pattern for our conditional sentence. We can always start with if, followed by had, plus the past participle or verb 3, and then follow with our modals would, could, or might, have, plus verb 3. Now, I know this looks like a lot, so let's break it down. We're simply doing this as if plus the past perfect because we are talking about an idea set in the past. And then we're adding your modal perfects, would have, could have, might have, plus verb 3, which brings in the change that was possible or the change that we imagine. Or we can also switch this and start with the modal perfects, would, could, might have, plus verb 3, followed by the if, had, verb 3. Or your modal perfect with the if and the past perfect. So now let's do some practice and read the short scenarios below and simply match the scenarios to the picture. So go ahead and pause the video, and when you are ready for the answer, hit play. All right, let's take a look. I will read number 1, and feel free to read along with me to practice your fluency. If Sarah had checked the departure time more carefully, she wouldn't have missed her flight to Paris. Her mistake cost her and the company a lot of money. And the correct answer to that is A. Let's read the second paragraph. If they had serviced their car regularly, it wouldn't have broken down on the highway. Their negligence led to an inconvenient and dangerous delay. The correct answer for that is B. Now let's fill in the blanks with the correct past perfect verb, okay? And a reminder that we are using the past perfect with if, because this is showing the changed action from what really happened. So go ahead and pause the video, and when you're ready to see your answers, hit play. Okay, let's see how we did. Number 1, had studied. If I had studied harder, I would have passed the exam. Number 2, had saved. If she had saved more money, she could have bought the car. Number 3, had known. If we had known about the storm, we would have canceled the trip. And number 4, had listened. If he had listened to the advice, he could have avoided the mistake. Now let's try the same with the modal perfect. The modal perfect, again, is the part of the sentence that imagines or thinks of the possible different outcome. So to keep this simple, use the modal could for all 4 sentences. Pause the video and hit play when you are ready for the answer. All right, here we go. Number 1, could have come. If you had called me, I could have come to help you. Number 2, could have seen. If they hadn't forgotten the tickets, they could have seen the concert. Number 3, could have felt. If she had taken the medicine, she could have felt better sooner. And number 4, couldn't have gotten. If we had left earlier, we couldn't have gotten stuck in traffic. Okay, now let's go ahead and fill in the blanks with the correct third conditional. So your if clause is first, which means you're going to follow that with the past participle or your had plus verb 3. And then after that, in the second blank, you are going to use your modal perfect. And to keep it simple, let's just use the modal would. Go ahead and pause the video when you're ready to check the answers. Hit play. Okay, these were a little bit hard, so how did we do? Let's take a look. Number 1 is had brought and wouldn't have gotten. If I had brought an umbrella, I wouldn't have gotten wet. Number 2, had trained, would have won. If they had trained harder, they would have won. Number 3, had eaten, wouldn't have felt. If she had eaten breakfast, she wouldn't have felt so hungry. And finally, number 4, had seen, would have turned. If we had seen the sign, we would have turned at the right street. This is advanced English. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. In addition, try to write some practice sentences as well. So think about answering this. If you had woken up earlier this morning, what could you have done? If people had never invented smartphones, what could life have been like? If you had learned another language as a child, what would you have learned? Or how do you imagine it would have changed your life? And finally, if you had found an extra $100 this morning, what do you imagine would have happened differently today? Thank you so much for practicing your English with me, and I'll see you again in our next lesson.